Good morning. So I'm putting on my bibs. I'm on my way out the door. I'm gonna show you guys kind of what's going on with the garden, just the setup and some things I'm thinking about changing. Well, things I'm planning to change. Yeah, just some maintenance and updating kind of things. But I gotta get myself together before I got there. A pretty bad hole in my sock. But not changing socks right now. Grab my boots. Yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of show y'all what I'm thinking about doing or planning to do. I still gotta figure out the details, some of the details. Yeah, anyway, let's go outside. Okay, here we are. So I'm showing you this from the outside of the fences first. Let me back up a little bit so you can see all corners. So I'm showing you this from the outside first. So this is what we have over here. And I'll show you this. I'm planning to graph this out so I can actually write down all the measurements I need, but I'm just gonna show it to you while I'm out here. First of all, I have two of these. So there's this one over here, and then there's one over this way on the other side of the yard. And that's the one that has the two, they were technically set up as potato beds, but I've been using them for other stuff too. But I'll show you that one in a second. But it's basically the same configuration as this, except it doesn't have this frame over the bed. Another thing, let me catch my breath. I don't know why I'm out of breath. I don't know, it's like I was holding my breath or something. So this part right here, and you'll see this better once I get in there, but that covering isn't over that entire bed, but the bed that's in is where this started. So I had this one right here, and I have one like it over in that bed over on the other side, and this is on a slope. So I wanted to find some way to utilize this slope in the yard, and I might kind of try to pan over to show you what that looks like. But that bed where this covering is, this is where the not potatoes, well, there are some potatoes, but where the beets and carrots are, that's what that's covering. But those two beds, this one and one of the other space, are where I started, and they're dug into the slope. So yeah, we'll get into that because that's part of what I need to talk about as far as what I'm thinking about changing. All right, so the layout. There's a bed that goes from the end back there up to about here. There's a little space, just an opening, and then there's a bed that goes from this end up to the gate. And then it's the same thing on the other side. So from there to about here, a space, and then from here to the fence. Okay, now on the other side of this bed, there's another bed. It's not all the way back to the fence, so there's some space between this wooden bed, and then there's just a raised bed that doesn't have any borders, which is what all the rest of this is, except for the middle one. There's a bed back there, and then there's some walking space on the opposite side of it. So it's fence, walking space, bed, walking space, wooden bed, walking space, and then the gate and these beds, and then those beds. Okay, now the thing that we have to do first thing, and these are things I think I'm actually going to start working on today, because I have time. I really wanted to go ahead and start working on my plan for the actual beds themselves, but I kind of need to get going, and I don't have time to really graph this out the way I want it to, and then still kind of make the time that I'm trying to make, because I want to do a little fun stuff too. So I'm gonna go bowling when I leave the gym, and I want to be there when they open. So That's why I can't. That's why I don't have time to do this, because I'm trying to go bowling. And I have a clothespin in my pocket, in the pocket of my bibs. Okay, so the unit just turned on. Okay, first or second, this. I'm gonna show it to you. You know what? Let's go closer. You've seen what's happened. Well, no, sorry. Let's not do that yet, because I'm gonna go closer to show you that. So this particular one, not the other one. The other one is fine, but this one, this end right here, I can see out of my window, out of my bedroom window. So I can see it from there, and also just when I'm mowing, can you see my lines from me mowing? When I'm mowing, I noticed it as well. Somehow, I got this one off. So it's like it's slanting this way. So it doesn't just go straight back. So I need to actually straighten this up. So I'm gonna have to bring this right here in. So where it's right here, it'll have to come over to about here. And then on this side, it's gonna have to go out some. So that's something that I need to fix. And that's just gonna be a matter of pulling up the posts. I don't know. I'm not sure if all of them are off, if it's just like the last two on each side that needs to move, but it definitely needs to be straightened up. So that needs to happen before I start on my bed plan. Another thing, now this is what we're gonna move for. All right, now you see it? You see what's happening here? So I have these gates. I don't know if you can see me or not, but as long as you can hear me, that's all that matters. So I made these gates. You see that moving? They're all pretty much like that now. So I'm gonna have to do something about this. And you see how this is set up? Let me see what you can see. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. So right here, I just have some wire from something else. Oh, this is the wire I used for the BlackBerry setup. But I just have a piece of that holding this up. And I usually have like a brick or one of these big rocks that I dug out of the ground, keeping this closed, but I don't really need it right now. But yeah, so these posts are out. That truck's so loud. So I'm gonna do something about these posts. I'm thinking I may go ahead and use, those aren't T-posts. They don't have the little thing on the top, but they're basically T-posts without the T part, if you know what I'm talking about. But well, or is the T part the part in the ground? I don't know. Anyway, I might use some more of those posts. Can you see? Okay, you can see that. Yeah, I might use these. I don't know yet. Thankfully, I'm just gonna squat or kneel. I never did really figure out what I wanted to do as far as hardware on this. So it doesn't have hinges, it doesn't have a latch, and it's the same thing in the other bed. It's set up the exact same way, and those need to be replaced as well. But yeah, I couldn't really decide how I wanted to do that or figure out how I wanted to do it. So I didn't do anything. So it's kind of have them propped up. I mean, it works. I can open and close it, you know, whatever. So it moves freely. As long as the grass is low, it moves freely. So yeah, that I had to figure something out with that. The issue is when I put these posts in, I'm pretty sure I quick-created these. So if I do those kind of posts instead, I'm gonna have to dig that concrete out. So that'll be a project. I may or may not start on that one today. I don't know. And right now, this is the best time to do that because all I have in here is the stuff that's covered up, and I got that one little. That's actually like the drawer of one of those little like storage things. That wasn't even mine. Like I picked that up. It's like in the trash. It blew up in my yard or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's all I have in here. So I'm not really worried about anything getting in here messing with stuff. So yeah, at the very least I can go ahead and take this out because it's not really connected. It's not connected down in the ground at this point anymore. So yeah, I can go ahead and take that out, and then I got winter and early spring to to dig the concrete out. So that's one thing that has to happen. Well, that's the second thing after straightening up the sides. So now we can go inside. Okay, before I start talking about the rest of that, just a quick look. This is what I was talking about. So this is that wooden bed that's dug into the ground. And then I'm going to walk back here and show it to you. So this is all pretty much grown over, but from here to here, this space, so this across to here, and then let's see, I don't know if you can see all the way to the side. It's I think down here to here. That's all another bed. And this is just cardboard that I put down to kind of suppress the grass. But yeah, that's what's happening there. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to figure out the order that I want to do this in. So I brought you back out to talk about what I want to do with the beds before I talk about the part I was going to show you inside. So I told you I had these spaces all around. What I am thinking about, and I'm going to draw this out for you, what I am planning, not really thinking about, I've pretty much decided on it now. What I'm planning to do is go ahead and, first of all, I'm going to connect these beds. So this space is going to leave, and that space over here is going to leave. And again, it's pretty much going to be the same thing in this bed and the other bed, with some exceptions. I kind of got to figure that part out, but I'll talk about it when I get over there. So I'm going to connect this front bed, the front beds and the side, and then where that space is back there, I'm actually going to make a bed all the way across the back. So instead of having that walking space and then the bed and then walking space and then this bed, it's just going to be the bed across the back and then a walking space between that and this wood bed. Okay, that's one. The biggest part of that though is I'm actually going to frame these beds in. So right now I have the raised beds because I didn't dig down. I did cardboard and laid the compost and everything down. But what I've run into, I'm gonna come around here and talk to y'all. So what I have run into, sorry, we're gonna change this. Okay, so what I've run into, I've turned it this way because I'm trying not to get like other people's property in the video. But the issue I'm having is Bermuda grass. That's the main thing. I have some other weeds that are giving me issues, but the Bermuda grass is just terrible. And I'm realizing that trying to do the on the ground no dig kind of thing instead of doing actual raised beds or digging it out completely, which is actually what I did with these beds across with my borders around the house. I actually dug that out, so I don't really have that issue with those beds. But yeah, so yeah, anyway, but yeah, trying to do it that way in the garden, not digging it out and not doing elevated beds, it's been such an ordeal. It's been terrible. It really has. So you saw when I was showing you those beds back there in the back. Yeah, when I was showing you that bed that's at the very back, you can't really see where it is. You can't see where most of these beds are in this space. Part of that is because the one on this side over here, I actually have grass clippings over it, so pretty much everything just looks brown right now, so it all blends. But the other part of that is just the way the grass is just kind of like constantly growing into the bed, and it's such a headache. So I'm gonna go ahead and frame those in. When I do that, I'm actually gonna dig in some, and actually I'm doing that part because of the slope. I'm gonna have to dig in. kind of how I did that main bed in the middle. So with me doing that, I can cut those rhizomes off along the edges of the actual garden, the actual beds, and then from there I have to decide like how much I want to dig inside the beds, to kind of try to get some of those roots out, because that stuff, it'll just keep growing as long as those root pieces of those roots are in there. It'll keep coming back. So that's really what we're looking at, is trying to find some way to, I wouldn't necessarily say eradicate the Bermuda grass problem, but at the very least, um, get some kind of relief from that. So that's a good note though. As far as like, sorry, somebody's passing. Okay, that truck wasn't as loud as some of these trucks are. So, anyway, just a good note as far as different gardening methods. Um, I mean, you learn what works, right? And this, and I was actually kind of trying to go with like a back to Eden kind of thing as well, which is another no dig thing. But yeah, anyway, you just find what works with all these different methods. I like no dig, but trying to do it this way, it just that it doesn't work with this grass that's already in my yard. So yeah, if I didn't have that, if this was like a new build and they hadn't put grass down, or they put down sod or something, sod that wasn't Bermuda grass, um, this wouldn't really be an issue as long as it wasn't a rhizomal grass. But because it is a rhizomal grass, it's just constantly a problem. So I mean, you live and you learn. And another thing on that, like this bed in the middle, that does have borders, and I did dig that out to some extent. It's still, some stuff will still come up in that, but it's nowhere near as bad as how it comes up. Keep hearing stuff. I don't know what that is. Is how it comes up in the other beds. It must be leaves blowing over. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure what that was. I mean, it's all kind of little critters still out here right now. Birds up in this dead tree that needs to come down. Okay, well, anyway, sorry for that brief intermission. But yeah, so what was I saying? Oh my gosh, what was I saying? I don't remember. Um, oh yeah, so it didn't do as bad in that bed, and then the potato beds, which are raised, like they're not in the ground at all. Those don't do as bad either. And then, like I also said, my borders around the house, I actually dug that out and put like compost and stuff down. Those are absolutely the best ones. I mean, I still have little stuff kind of pop up in them, but nowhere near what's happening in the garden spaces. So that is something to note. The only thing, my hesitation with potentially doing that in the garden spaces is the fact that I have already put like 2 or 3 years of compost down. So I don't want to lose that by trying to dig this out at this point. So I probably won't go that route. I'll just kind of dig it up and pull stuff out, and just, kind of dig it up and pull whatever I can out, and then just spread it back out, spread the soil back out. But yeah, as far as taking it up and actually moving it, which is what I did around the border, in the borders, I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to lose all my good soil that I've built up out here. Um, so okay. Okay, we can go look at what I was going to show you before. All right, guys. So I want to give you a good visual representation of this slope. And I'll probably show it to you from another angle too, like just me out here so you can kind of see what's going on. But so, like I was saying about framing these beds in, the real task here is going to be, like I said, I'm going to have to dig in. I'm going to have to dig them in to some extent. Now, so this is just how it slopes. That's not the angle of the camera, that's the slope. So what I am looking at doing, hold on, let me grab a stick or something. Okay, so what I'm looking at is, which I don't know if this is actually going to help. I kind of want to show you, but I'm not sure how well you'll be able to hear me. Oh my gosh, please pass by. Thank you, goodness. Okay, so, wait, where are we? Okay, there we are. So I'm gonna have to keep those beds pretty level. So, all right, let's back up. Part of me doing borderless raised beds was really to avoid this, having to dig a bunch of beds in. Now, I felt pretty, like, I was a little nervous about it, but it worked out fine. As far as the slope and me putting down compost on top and not really mixing things in, the hesitation there is, or the concern there is it potentially washing down, because we do get some pretty heavy rains. So that was a concern. But because I wasn't building it up super high, it wasn't too much of a concern, and it ended up not being a problem. Say for the most part, not that I can really recall. Now, if I put beds, if I raise this up, then that I'm just laying on is going to be a lot thicker. It's going to be deeper, higher than the lowest level here. So that then makes me kind of worry about that trying to wash down inside the bed, because there's more of it. I don't know if that really makes sense. So yeah, anyway, hopefully that makes sense. I'm concerned with it kind of running down, if when I build that up. So that leads me to the next part that I was going to talk about. As far as those beds, I'm thinking of terracing them. The question then becomes, where do I want to break off those terraces? Because I was thinking about this the other day, and I forgot that I was going to close this in, and I was like, okay, I can just kind of do one here, one here, one here. But then I remember, like, oh wait, I'm actually going to connect all of this together. So somewhere I'm going to have to cut it, and I may just do this right here as its own. So that front bed in the open space as its own, and then still do the 3 down here that I originally planned, unless I want to make them equally distribute the space. I figure all that out once I measure it and graph it out, and I'll show it to you then. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to terrace this, and that's not to try to make it all, which is terracing, and I'm gonna still explain in case you don't really know what I'm talking about, but that's not gonna make this all level, right? It's going to make whatever section, however big those sections are, the sections themselves will be level. So if I go here, I'll have to dig down here, but up to this point it'll be above ground. So and all of that will be level, and then the next one, it'll step down a little bit, and then it'll be level to wherever this end is, and it'll be on top of the ground, but this part will be in the ground, and it'll do that all the way down. So it'll be like stairs essentially. So you know how you have a step and it's level all the way across, but then you step down and it's level, and you step down and it's level. That's what that's gonna do. So I just gotta figure that out. As far as like the back, that's still on a slope too, so this is gonna slope down just a little bit. I'm not sure how concerned I am with that part, and that's gonna leave a really big space here because I don't want to make that too deep, because with me not having a walking space, let's look over. With me not having a walking space on the back, so this bed goes from like here to here, or basically to where the cardboard is. So it's a nice size little bed right here, and it's actually one of the better beds in both of the spaces. Yeah, so anyway, with me bringing all of that together and connecting it and going across the back, that's going to leave a pretty big space. I don't want to make it so deep that I can't reach across. So that's going to be a thing with this. I'm only going to be able to make it so deep, because otherwise I'm not going to have anywhere to walk around on the back of it. And I mean, unless I just plan to put like corn or something on it, in which case I could just reach over the fence and grab that. I don't really need to go on the back. But yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm going to put on that bed, in that bed at this point. But that's going to leave some open space here. And I'm thinking of doing some potted things and stuff like that in some of this open space that's going to be back here. So I mean, I'll utilize the space. It just won't be bed, an actual garden bed in this space anymore. And I'm actually going to move like this, all this good soil that I got right here, I'm digging that out, and we're going to put it back here in this space back here, help fill that in, because I'm going to need to level it out anyway. Well, I say level, it's still a slope, but you know, whatever. So that, I think that's the gist of it here. I don't think there's anything else I need to tell you on that. I'm gonna have to dig those beds in, do something about the gate, about this gate, and move these outside fences, or these side fences, to straighten it up, or straighten it out, whatever. Straighten up, out. Straighten it. Yeah. Okay. Let's go look at the other bed right quick. Okay, here we are. So again, not really getting into, we're not here to look at stuff, but we got some stuff in that bed, and that is actually just my peppers. I'm gonna try to save those peppers, particularly my pepperoncinis. No, my marconis. Sorry, the golden marconis. I want to try to save those. And this mess right here, I finally came out a few days ago and pulled up all those zinnias that I planted on the side after the corn. After I harvested the corn, I planted just a whole row of zinnias down this side over here, and I finally came out and pulled those up. I left them initially because I thought, well, maybe the birds will eat the seeds, whatever, but I haven't seen them really messing with them. So, and there are still birds around, you can hear them. Well, those are geese you hear right now. Let me see if I can catch them flying over. If I can catch them, I'll show them to you flying over. Yeah, they don't really sound like they're moving, but they're closer than the nearest pond in that direction. Oh, okay. Sounds like they were actually going away. I don't know. If I see them, I'll show you. So, okay. I think they did go by, but they're too far over. I couldn't see them over the trees because I hear them kind of on the other side now. I think. I don't know. It could just be an echo. So anyway, yeah, there's birds around, but I didn't see them messing with them, so I went ahead and pulled those out. I still had some over in the border as well. I just went ahead and pulled out all of the stuff that I left for the sake of leaving seed heads. Hold on. Yes, I went ahead and pulled all of that stuff out that I was leaving for seed heads for the birds, because they weren't eating them from what I could see. So but I didn't have room to dump that, so I just left it right there. So I'm actually going to pick that up today and go ahead and get it out of here. And then those that are still up, that's okra. When I was pulling those out, they're kind of slippery and I couldn't just pull them out of the ground, so I'm gonna have to cut those off. Hold on. Yeah, so I'll have to just cut those off. I might do that when I come back out here later today. Yeah, so like I said, the difference here, I don't have that frame around that middle bed, but I do have this little, it's actually a piece of the fencing and some posts that I already had, and I have like a little small trellis right here on the end of this. I think I did peas. I did sweet peas on that, green peas on that last year, and then I also did some of the cucumbers, a little bit of cucumber on that as well later in the year. So let's go a little closer. Okay, I got you. Hold on, I got you a little slanted. Okay, that's better. I feel like you're slanted in the other direction a little bit now, but it's fine. So this is that trellis I was talking about, my little trellising situation. And I actually have a trellis that I keep on this one back here, which is just some much taller posts than these, and some what's Hort Nova, like that horticultural netting, and I use that. Pause. Okay. Yeah, people. So what I'm thinking, well, what I'm planning to do here, and I may go ahead and get these while I'm out today, I'm gonna get some more of these posts. So I want to get 4 posts. I'm planning to continue doing peppers through here. So I had this post, and then I had just like a bamboo stake or something halfway down this row. And then, did I have another one? Did I have another one on this end? Or did I had another one on this end too, and then one on two on the other end as well. But I had that, and then I had just some string kind of tied going down to try to keep, hold on, wait, something's not adding up here. Let's see. No, okay. So I had the bamboo stakes holding my strings that I had to kind of try to keep the peppers up, because especially with the bell peppers, it'll get kind of heavy and branches will break off. But these, the bigger one, and there was some others, those were for my shade cloth during the hotter part of the summer. Because from my understanding, peppers like heat, but they don't like it just super hot. So yeah, so I was shading those. So what I'm thinking of, or planning to do here, is get some of these posts and actually go ahead and set something up. And also I don't know if I want to use the same as this fencing. Just let me show it to you right here. This fencing, I can't remember the size of this. Is this like maybe 2 by 3 spacing? I think I would like something just kind of square, and honestly it doesn't need to be that skinny either, but I think I'm going to do something like that. I don't want to do the string thing again, and I also don't want to use like that netting, and I'll show you the netting in another spot, because I'm thinking of doing the same, something similar in that spot as well. So what I want to do is, like I said, get some posts like the ones I already have. So 4 to 6, because I'm sure I'll need to do one around the middle. I don't know if I want to just do one on one side or do it on both sides. Probably both sides. So let's say 6 posts down this bed. Also, while I'm talking about it, I don't actually know if I want to reconfigure this one to the way I'm going to do the other one, just because I do have the peppers already set here. I don't really want to move them, especially if they make it through the winter. I don't want to do that. So I had to think through that for this space over here. I have to think through it. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Um, yeah, it would probably be fun to go ahead and do it. I don't know, but we got time to figure that out. I'll definitely start on the other space before I start on this space over here. So, yeah, so doing some posts and then taking some kind of fencing and running it down across those posts, and letting that be what holds them instead of string or netting. So that's the main thing that I'm thinking about doing right now that I know I want to do to this bed. Um, yeah, is to go ahead and get that set up for next year. Now let's see. I don't really want to look at these back beds, so I'm not gonna go back there. The main thing with these, you can see where that's kind of buckling right there. Let's zoom in over there because I don't want to move the camera, but I want to show you this. So you see where that's, you see right here. Oops. Where we at? Right there. There's another loud one. That board is sticking out. It's doing that in a couple of spots. So these boards on the ends are actually different from the boards down the side. So those are actually doing really well, just sticking together. But yeah, those down the sides. I wasn't gonna replace them. I was just gonna give them some more support to keep them in place. But I don't know. I have to make a decision on that. That bed, I'm actually thinking of today getting some topsoil to go ahead and top that bed off. So, did some research. I can turn. You see me? Okay. So I did a little research about my sweet potatoes, and I think I've seen this before, but then I've also seen or watched, people talking about potatoes, sweet potatoes being like heavy feeders. So it was kind of like, well, wait, which one is it? Do they not need like really fertile soil, or do they need fertile soil? I'm a little confused. Well, the thing is, they need fertile soil, but they don't really need a lot of nitrogen, which apparently is something you run into when you're using a lot of compost in your beds, is it being higher in nitrogen than what they really like. So I'm actually going to top that off, which normally I would top everything off with compost. I'm going to top that off with some topsoil, and then I'm going to try to find a fertilizer that's more targeted to those kinds of crops and mix that in instead of putting more compost down. So that's my plan for that. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go ahead and try to get some soil bags today to do that. So I'm going to get that, and again, I don't know what I was saying just then. Get the soil for that bed, and also go ahead and get the post for the peppers maybe. And I don't know if I want to get the post for the gate. I didn't show y'all this gate, but it's excuse me, it's basically doing the same thing the other one's doing. I'll show it to you in a second. I don't know if I want to go ahead and get the post for the gates or not, because I still got to figure out exactly what I'm going to do about the gates. Because once I put those posts up, I mean, I'm just holding it up with a wire, so I could just wrap the wire around the post like I have it wrapped around this wooden post. Wire around anyway. I just do the same thing, but I don't know. I'm looking at this bed, and I actually feel like this space over here didn't do as bad. It doesn't look as bad, but then I also feel like I kind of have the mulch better on this bed than I do on the other bed. Let me show you. Wait, I still have this zoomed in, y'all. Sorry. So like, see how well this is mulched? That's something else that I kind of want to finish, because I still have some more grass clippings. I still have more grass clippings in the back, at the back of the yard. So I kind of want to work on that as well, just depending on how much time I have, which projects I decide to actually work on today and over the next few days while the weather's nice and I got time to do it. Trucks. So yeah, I actually don't know if I'm going to, I don't know if I want to reconfigure this one because it just doesn't do as bad as that other one does. Like that other one needs it, but this one might be okay as it is. It might be. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I definitely want to do the other bit, the other space. Oh, I left that open. I'm about to go close that. I definitely want to do the other space. I could leave it open. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to change this one because that one I'm really changing out of necessity. This one, I don't know. Again, it could just not look as bad because it's covered up a little better, but I don't know. I don't know. Something else that I did not talk about on the other is I have. I saw something. I don't know if I put those holes, those little spaces there, if something's been in there. So the walkways. I think I have pretty much decided that I'm going to stop trying to not have grass in these walkways. Like it's over with. I did wood chips. That's what I had here initially, and you can still see it in this, like right there, like right in here. You can see it, wood chips. But sorry, let's go back. But I mean, wood chips, they break down. They basically turn into compost. So now it's just grass growing all through here. And I actually have like landscape fabric down. You can see it right there. But still, those wood chips broke down on top of it, and it's just the grass is just running wild in here. I've pretty much decided to not fight that anymore, and I'll just plan to mow it, or weed eat it, I guess. And that'll be that. Let's see, is there anything else to talk about here? I was gonna show you the this gate too. Even though again, it's just like the other. It's just like the other one. Oh no, that side's still good. That side's bad. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to figure out exactly what I'm gonna do about these gates. I'll figure it out, guys. I'll figure something out. Okay, there's one other thing I wanted to show you. What I was talking about when I mentioned how I'm gonna do this. Let me show you that. That'll be the last thing. Okay, so we are now looking at the back border. This is the south side of the house, so I plant a bunch of stuff that needs full sun back here. I have cut flowers, so I have like daffodils and tulips. They do okay. The main thing is I have my dahlias right here. So this is my dahlia patch. So I have about 6 different plants off in here, and I'm using this right now. So I don't plan on changing these posts, and these are posts that I had from something else, and I took that down. We won't get into that, but anyway, these were posts I already had, and I just put some black stain on them. So what I was talking about doing over there with the fence section, I'm gonna do the same thing here. So I'll do one lower down. I don't know if it'll be that low or exactly how I want to space them. I might end up doing 3. I don't know yet, but I'm gonna do that instead of this because this just gets flimsy. It's flimsy, and then it just kind of weighs. The plants just weigh it down. And no, it wasn't really this loose initially. It just kind of weighed it down like that, stretched it out. So yeah, I'll take this off. I'll find some other use for all this netting that I have. And this is what I'm thinking of as far as supporting that. So what I want to do once I get the fencing and swap this out, is I actually want to just put like a nail or a screw on the outside of each of these posts at whatever point those fence sections are, and basically just slide it down over the post and have it sit on those nails. And that way I can kind of take it on and off pretty easily, or screws, whatever, hooks, whatever I put there. And that'll be the support for it, because I'm not worried about it going up. I just don't need it sliding down any further than where it is. And I also don't need it going side to side, which the post will keep it from doing that, but just something for it to rest on. So that's what I'm thinking of there. Now, before I go in the house, I would like to give an honorable mention to these blueberry bushes. Man, they are so pretty. So, sorry, I'm trying to keep myself out of this. Yeah, I guess I should have done from this angle. They're just so pretty. They have such nice color through the fall and winter. Like, it's beautiful. Look at it. Look at it. It's got some coating on it now, but it's just so pretty. Look at that. That is just the prettiest thing. It's so pretty. Let me show you the other one. Okay, so this has the tree shadow over it, so you can't see it quite as well. This thing is full of buds, though. It's full of buds. I was looking at this one out of my window earlier. But yeah, the color on this one isn't as brilliant, but it's still pretty, very pretty. And this is one of those things where it's like winter and fall color, spring color even. I just didn't really expect that. They are very, very pretty. So that first one I showed you is just a regular blueberry. I don't really know the variety. And that second one, that's the pink lemonade. So it's a pink blueberry. Yeah. Well, that is it. I'm sure there's plenty of other things that I'm going to be doing out here. Just making some changes. Moving little things around, moving some plants around mainly. Actually, let me close this gate while I'm closing this out. But yeah, that is the gist of it. And yeah, we got some things to figure out, some things to work on. When I come back later, I'll go ahead and get out here and do some measuring so I can draw this out on, yeah, I'm gonna have to draw this out. Sorry guys, I'm walking away from the sun now. I'm gonna draw this out on my graph paper and kind of come up with some plans, at least for that first space that I showed you. Because like I said, I'm still gonna have to decide on that second one. I initially said it's gonna be the same, but I don't actually know if I want to do that. So we'll see how that all goes, and I will get started on that later today. I was gonna say bye, but I guess I'll be back to show you the drawing. See you in a bit. Okay, so here's the drawing. Sorry, I'm adjusting my hand. So first of all, 16 feet 7 inches across there. I'm assuming the same all the way across. I didn't measure the gate, but that's what it is on each side. 6'4", 6'7", top to bottom, 18 feet 2 inches. So I tried to keep that 7 inches on here, but the 2 inches, I really didn't bother with it. So this is what we're looking at. That bed is 4x6. So it's actually like, it's 4 this way, but then it's like 6 and 4 inches across, because I didn't like angle cut the ends. I just butted it up against the other side. So it's got the extra 2 inches from these 4-foot boards. So it's actually 6'4". Yeah, anyway, so an extra 2 inches on each side. So this is what I'm looking at. This is 2.5 feet across and 2.5 feet up here. I'm going to do 3 feet across the back just because I have all of that space. I don't want to go any wider than 3 feet because I'm not that tall. I mean, my arms only stretch so far. So 3 feet is 3 feet is actually stretching it, honestly, or pushing it, but I think I can manage with 3 feet. If I put anything across the very back, it'll have to be something that I can access from outside of the fence. So either something taller or maybe something that kind of vines and I could trellis it maybe. I don't know. But anyway, 3 feet back there, that's going to leave me with about 6 feet of space here. And again, I didn't really use 2 inches. So yeah, this is an approximation. But as far as how I cut these boards, I'm going to cut it based on 3 feet and 2.5 feet. So that's a done thing. So yeah, it's 2.5 feet, 2.5 feet. These marks out here are my tentative terrace marks. So I may cut this off here. Actually, I did 4 spaces. I may actually do 5 spaces so I can have 4. So I have 4 different marks. I did 4 spaces, but I really intended to do four marks anyway. So I should have did it by 5 instead of by 4. Yeah, currently, which I wouldn't want to do one inside of this. So the smallest I could go on this end would be 3 feet. But as it stands, I have them marked at 4.5 feet. So 4.5 feet to that one, and then to that next little mark, which is in the same spot on both sides, is 4.5 feet for all of those little marks. So 4.5 feet, 4.5 feet, 4.5 feet, 4.5 feet. Again, that's an approximation because I didn't use that extra 2 inches. So I rounded it. Actually, I used the 2 inches in my calculation, but then it came out to like 4 feet 5 something. So I just went ahead and did 4.5 for the purpose of the graph. But yeah, so one of these will obviously be a little off from that because they're not gonna all be 4.5 feet exactly. Well, anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm looking at. So 2.5 feet deep until you get to the back 3 feet. And then again, I may reevaluate on how I want to do the terracing. If I want to do 4 sections, like I have it marked here, or if I want to go back and do 5 sections, in which case they won't all be even because I don't want to go any lower than this. So yeah, the lowest I'd be able to go back here would be 3 feet. And I basically just mark this off. It has its own bed essentially. And yeah, I may or may not do that across the top as well, and then terrace, and then do 3 in between. Not fully decided on that part yet. Yeah, not fully decided on that. I guess I should have did it one way on one side and another way on the other side so I could show you, but I didn't think about it until after I marked it and started recording this video. So if I do decide to go a different route with this, which it's wet outside, it's a little drizzly, so I couldn't really mess around too much out there. I didn't want to mess around too much. But when the weather's a little better and I can actually kind of stand out there and look at where it's going to fall on the slope, because it's a little steeper up here and then it starts to level out more down here at the bottom. So when I can look at where these marks actually fall on the slope, I will most likely shift this around. So they may not be even at all. It may just be random spots where I terrace it off. But those are the general measurements. All right, you guys have a good day. Bye.